On Canal, Andriy Lysenko will report on the situation in the east of Ukraine and about the news from ATO area. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Please listen to the information about situation in the ATO area, about military exercises of Ukrainian troops held there. So the Lugansk sector, during the last 24 hours, NMS continued to open mortar and artillery fire over the Ukrainian positions, but those shellings were short. The military activities started around 6 a.m. when the militants carried out armed provocation from grenade launchers near Troitsk. Then the hotspots shifted to Krymsk and Novozvanivsk. In Krymsk, the enemies opened fire from mortars and artillery, and in Novozvanivka, the provocations were held 2 times. One was early in the morning and one late night. In general, in Lugansk sector, yesterday there were 17 violations of the ceasefire regime, and out of them 5 from heavy weaponry. In Donetsk sector, the situation remained rather intensive. The militants opened mortar fire of moderate intensity over Ukrainian positions around Svetlodarsk Bridge and Avdiivka. Thus, they launched 110 mortar bombs. In Luhansk village, the militants used 120-millimeter mortars. Also, the small arms and grenade launchers were used over positions in Avdiivka and Shakhta Budyivka. In result of enemy shellings, the civil population and residential houses were damaged. In Avdiivka, two women were wounded and 3 buildings were damaged. Then military provocations were in Zaitsevo, Mayorsk, Novgorodska, Verkhnyataritska. In general, in the next sector, there were 16 violations of ceasefire regime and 9 with mortars. Mariupol sector is in the previous days. The combat activities were between Pavlopil and Shirokina. The most intensive situation were in Pavlopil, where after 6 p.m. there was mighty and strong mortar shelling and small arms. Then in Mariamka, Krasnogorivka, and Gnutova mortars were used. One old car was liquidated in Mariamka. In general, in Mariupol, there were 24 armed provocations on behalf of occupants, out of them 5 with the use of mortars. During the last 24 hours, there were no casualties among Ukrainian troops, but 10 servicemen were wounded in result of shelling, 6 in Luhansk and 4 more in Pavlopil. Ukrainian law enforcement officers has registered and documented one more crime committed by occupants. So-called officers of Lugansk commandment had beaten to death a 38-year-old guy from Stanitsa Luganska who earned money assisting people with carrying their luggage and carryings via Stanitsa Luhanska checkpoint. He disappeared on April 27th and nobody saw him alive since that. In Mariinsky district, the counter-subversive activities and trainings were held by the police. The police raid searched in 24 recreation centers, 100 garage facilities, 420 summer cottages. 4 suspects were detained who are suspected in cooperation and in with illegal band formations and in membership in them. Thus, the small arms were expropriated, ammunition and insignia of the Russian occupational troops. The residential place of one of very famous militant called the Executor. Ukrainian law enforcement revealed enemy's documents, words, and weapons. Also, in Zaporizhia, Zhevnevo District Court has made a verdict against 2 subversive agents which planned to exploit the railway in Zaporizhia city 2 years ago. The subversive agents acted in line with the instructions of Russian curators, and the evidences of their criminal intention were TNT ordinances, grenade mines with charges, and maps. The military exercises among air forces of Ukrainian troops continue. The trainees are trained in flights on assault planes, in air combats, and also the land personnel is being trained in repelling attack on airfield, in security measures, etc. Since there are no further questions, the briefing is over, and the ongoing briefing will be tomorrow at 12:30 traditionally. Thank you.